What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some insane battles in the catch cart running two Pokemon that actually have to be traded in order to fit in the Great League with Hisuian Decidueye and more importantly Heatran. Now I really wanted to be the first person to showcase this Pokemon as it's less desirable than Giratina, which I figured most content creators would all rush to make videos on, but of course the content machine that is Yonkers, despite being very ill, still beat me to it, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm not going to lie, I thought this was going to be a bit of a meme pick, but Heatran is actually insane in these battles, absolutely shutting down Charmers, which you'd expect, but also a ton of other Pokemon. But obviously you do want to keep it far away from Pokemon like Poliwrath and Whiscash, so I've got Shadow and Empoleon there to bait them out. Now in order to get a Great League Heatran, there is currently a free timed research that gives encounters with several Sinnoh legendaries including Heatran, but from the research encounter itself it will be too high in CP, so you have to trade it to get the IVs to go down. To give yourself the best opportunity for it to fit in the Great League, you ideally want to trade with good friends or level 1 friendship, because a best friend trade will have an IV floor of 555, which only gives a handful of IVs that can actually fit into the Great League, but with good friends the floor is 111, so you have a lot more combinations and therefore a higher probability. So with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. Which other legendary Pokemon would you love to be able to use in the Open Great League at some point in the future? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we see Hisuian Decidueye into Greninja, so an amazing lead for us. The opponent's going to say swap into Wigglytuff, and let me just say, if you are tired of running into Charmers in the Go Battle League, Heatran is going to be your absolute dream pick. It completely shuts down Wigglytuff, and basically every Charmer in the game, because it double resists Charm. It's also got some decent bulk, whereas a Pokemon like Salazzle, which also double resists Charm, doesn't have that much bulk, but of course Salazzle does have a slightly better moveset, but it doesn't matter. I'm able to Fire Spin, farm them down, come out with an Earth Power, and that is a debuffed Earth Power. It still does that much damage to Greninja. They get the Water Shuriken farm down, and unless they are running Aerial Ace, we should be able to fully magically farm them down. They go for the Night Slash there, they swap into their Shadow, Alola Ninetales, and unfortunately for this opponent, we are completely hard-walling them in this first battle. We're going to come in with the Shadow Empoleon, and the opponent just concedes the match there. So literally nothing that opponent could have done there, but that is how it goes sometimes. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Drapion, so a much worse lead for us. Going to say swap into my Empoleon. Going to let this move go through. They do throw on alignment there, so I get a full Waterfall in for free, but the opponent chips me enough where they can now come in with their own Empoleon, let this move go through, and fully Waterfall farm me down as well, which is quite a smart play by the opponent, and they're going to come out with a Charge move loaded too, so not ideal for me. I'm going to have to use my shield on my Decidueye because a Drill Peck will probably KO. It is double super effective, and Decidueye isn't the bulkiest Pokemon by any means, but we can now go for a Magical Leaf farm down. They're going to come back in with the Drapion. I'm going to go straight for the Aura Sphere. Aerial Ace probably would not KO, so just going to full send the Aura Sphere, and if they're not running Sludge Bomb here, I can actually tank either a Crunch or an Aqua Tail, but the opponent is going to be running Sludge Bomb. It takes me out, but now we can come in with the Heatran. We know they're not running Aqua Tail, so I'm going to let this move go through. Crunch is still going to do some pretty decent damage in this matchup, but I can go for a slight overfarm. Don't overfarm too much because I don't want to allow them to make it to another Crunch, but we take them out with the Magma Storm, and they've got Alola Ninetales in the back, and once again Heatran absolutely destroying this Pokemon. We are double resisting the Charm damage. We go for the Magma Storm, and we can make it to a second Magma Storm, and this is certainly going to be enough damage from this range to take out the Ninetales, and I'm able to take that game. So once again, Heatran just absolutely shutting down those Charmers. Now into the next battle, we see Skarmory in the lead. This is actually the only Skarmory I saw in my 6 sets that I did with this team, so I was obviously hoping to shut it down with my Heatran, and here we haven't even got it aligned yet, but let's see if there's anything we can do about that. We're going to go for the Drill Peck. The opponent can shield that up, go for the full counter farm down, and what my opponent did, which was very smart, is they actually stayed in with the Skarmory initially, knowing that I was always going to make it to a Drill Peck up against the Poliwrath, but now they can still come out with a ton of energy, and they will actually be able to make it to another Icy Wind here before I do make it to my Aerial Ace, and I just need to hope that the opponent for whatever reason just lets this move go through, and we're going to go for the Aerial Ace, and they do let it go through, which is huge for me. Now we come in with the Heatran, and they've got a Shadow Gligar in the back. Now of course Dig is going to be double super effective, but I don't throw straight away, hoping the opponent would go for the Dig, and they do, and now we can overfarm massively in this matchup. Go for a Magma Storm. Magma Storm going to grab the final shield, and because they are Shadow, this is probably going to be enough damage damage from this range, but a Magma Storm will be taking out the Shadow Gligar, and now it just depends, can we live a Brave Bird? It is resisted, it still hits like a truck, but we live that. We make it to another Magma Storm up against the Skarmory, and this is easily going to take out the Skarmory with a triple defense debuff, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Dragalge in the lead, so not ideal. Going to say swap into my Empoleon. I should be resisting everything, but likewise they're also going to resist the waterfall damage, and they come in with a Shiinotic. So I'm going to go for the Drill Peck here. Drill Peck does hit for super effective. It probably wouldn't KO. Shiinotic has some decent bulk to it. Actually, no, it doesn't have that much bulk, but it's okay bulk, but we're gonna go and shield the Seed Bomb there. Gonna go for a second Drill Peck, and this probably will KO from this range. So the opponent double shields, and that's what I wanted. I want them to double shield here, and now I can just let this move go through. I know Heatran is gonna completely wall their moveset, so we're just gonna come in with the Heatran. No point coming in with Decidueye, that would be completely pointless. And now I am also gonna have some energy towards making it to an Earth Power, which I can potentially throw into Dragalge. So we're gonna go for the Earth Power straight away. They're gonna overfarm here, and Earth Power, it's going to hit for huge damage, nearly takes them out. I'm going to shield this up. They're not swapping out, and at this point I'm thinking they're probably quite weak to the Heatran in the back, and they've got a Titan in the back, so I'm going to go for the Magma Storm. Magma Storm is going to hit for super effective damage. It nearly one-shots them. I'm going to swap into my Decidueye just for the sake of it, catch the Body Slam, and I'm able to magically farm down Titan, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Jellicent in the lead, so this is a great matchup for us. They're running Bubble as well. They're going to say swap into their Gligar, and we can respond with our Empoleon. I can shield this up. If they bait me, it might be a little bit tricky, but they do full send the dig, so I know I can just go for a full Waterfall farm down. This should only be either a Night Slash or an Aerial Ace, so I'm going to let it go through. It is the Night Slash there, so that's fine. And we are going to see the opponent comes back in with their Jellicent. We're going to go straight for the Drill Peck here. I should be able to make it to a second Drill Peck before they can make it to even a Surf. So this might grab a shield at this point, or they might just fully sacrifice the Jellicent. I'm not sure. They're going to go for that shield there. They're going to overfarm quite a lot though, which is quite a smart play. I'm just going to let this move go through. From this range, Surf will be enough to take us out, and I should be able to live anything unless they go for Ice Beam. That might KO, but I don't think they're going to be running it. They go for the Shadow Ball, and they swap into Azumarill, and this is actually not great for us. I did not expect it to be a double bubble team, which sounds quite nice, but it's definitely not nice for my Heatran. But let's see what Heatran can do if there's any way to pull this back. We're going to shield up the Hydro Pump, so that is good news for us. I actually thought about just letting it go through. I thought this was game over, but I'm going to go for the Earth Power. They should be one bubble away from the next Hydro Pump, so we can go for one Fire Spin. We just barely make it to the Magma Storm. This is resisted damage, but it takes out the Azumarill, and I'm able to Fire Spin, farm down the Jellicent, and my Heatran just took out two water types to take that game, and we end up going 5-0 in that set. That was actually my final set with this team, so the battles are kind of in reverse order, but into the next battle, we're going to see a Mandibuzz in the lead. Not ideal, so I'm going to swap into my Empoleon, and the opponent's going to respond with a Decidueye. Not Hisuian, just the regular Decidueye, and the opponent will actually throw on CMP. I didn't realize this, but we lose CMP as our Shadow Empoleon, which isn't ideal, but I want to grab both shields from the opponent here, and because they went for Frenzy Plant, that's pretty telling that they don't have Spirit Shackle. Otherwise, you would just go for the cheaper move there, so I'm actually not going to come in with my Decidueye. I feel like I might still need that in the back, so I'm going to come in with my Heatran instead, and the opponent's going to blind throw here. They're going to go for the Brave Bird. That is resisted damage, but of course Frenzy Plant is double resisted, so still the correct move to go for, and we're going to go for a Magma Storm here up against this Mandibuzz. Magma Storm isn't going to do too much damage there. I think at this point I'm going to let this move go through, calling a bait or just letting them take me out with a Dark Pulse. I think Decidueye will be able to take out the Mandibuzz here, but it just depends on what they've got in the back. They're not swapping out, so maybe it is something weak to the Decidueye. I'm going to overfarm as much as possible, throw as late as possible, go for the Aura Sphere. Hopefully this does KO, and it does take out the Mandibuzz, but they've got a Shadow Frost Sash in the back. I'm going to commit to the Aura Sphere once again. This is resisted damage, but it's going to do more damage than an Aerial Ace, but it is still resisted, and unfortunately it doesn't take them out. They can go for a triple axle, taking out Decidueye, and unfortunately we do lose that game. So if I actually just sacrificed Decidueye there and then came in with my Heatran, farmed them down, then I actually could have been a pretty good spot, but obviously wasn't able to read the team comp from the opponent. But into the next battle, we see a Shadow Sneasler in the lead. I'm going to say so into my Empoleon, and the opponent's going to respond with a Dragonite, which, I mean, on paper doesn't make too much sense, but they can actually go for a full Dragon Breath farm down, which is not good at all. Now here, this time, I'm going to fully sacrifice my Decidueye. Have I learned from my previous battle here? Decidueye might not be that good up against my opponent's team, so I'm just going to let the next move go through as well. Dragon Claw will be taking us out. Now, can Heatran fully sweep a team here? We go for the Fire Spin, farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. Of course, they've got a fighting type in the lead, but they have to go for close combat to take us out. So I'm going to go straight for the Magma Storm. Magma Storm grabs the shield from the opponent. They're going to go for one extra Shadow Claw. I'm going to shield this up because they might go for the close combat. They actually full sent it, but they've got a Clodsire in the back, and luckily for me, it is not running Mud Shot, it's running Poison Sting. So instead of being double super effective, those fast moves are double resisted by the steel typing. I can just shield this up. The opponent full sends the Earthquake, so now I can overfarm in this matchup, not too much. So I'm going to go for the Magma Storm here just before they make it to the next Earthquake, and this Magma Storm takes out the Clodsire. Can we outpace them to another Magma Storm? The answer is yes, and Heatran is able to sweep a full team in the in the Catch Cup. I was going to say in the Open Great League, but this technically isn't. It is the Catch Cup, but I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Dugong in the lead. So bit of a tricky matchup here for me. I'm going to swap. I'm expecting the opponent to just go for the Icy Wind straight away, and the opponent's actually going to go for a Liquidation, and then they get a defense drop as well, which is really weird. I'm not sure why they'd go for Liquidation unless they're running Liquidation and Drill Run, which would be a pretty crazy combination. Not running the Icy Wind, but I mean, it must work in some battles, so props to that opponent for running a slightly spicier moveset. They're going to go for the Shadow Ball with their Jellicent, so we're going to wait out a Switch Clock, come in with Decidueye, go for one extra Magical Leaf as they can't throw back-to-back Shadow Balls. I'm actually grab a shield here, so I'm definitely going to shield this up. The opponent's also going to go for an Ice Beam there, so running some very interesting moves on their Pokemon right now. And now they come in with another Mandibuzz, so not ideal, but we've seen already Aura Sphere does quite a lot of damage to the Mandibuzz. I mean, not quite half their health, but we now get them into the half health range with a few Fire Spins from my Heatran. I'm going to let the first move go through. They go for Foul Play, not Dark Pulse this time, so they are slightly spammier. They get to the second Foul Play. I'm actually going to shield this up, and they bait with an Aerial Ace, which... oh man, that feels really bad. But here I'm thinking Magma Storm probably just barely doesn't KO, but maybe one more Fire Spin will take them out. But unfortunately it doesn't. Should have gone for the Earth Power there. And unfortunately Magma Storm will be shielded. It doesn't quite KO through the shield either, so this isn't looking great. I do believe the Mandibuzz does have some residual energy. We need to make it to at least an Aerial Ace here, but the opponent makes it to the Aerial Ace first. And this of course is double super effective. It's easily going to take out the Decidueye, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into next game, we see Alola Ninetales in the lead. Gonna save swap into my Shadow Empoleon. The opponent is staying in initially before swapping into Whiscash, but they stayed in for way too long here. I can go for the Hydro Cannon straight away and hopefully just grab a shield. If I grab the shield, then I'm fine with that. I can come in with my Decidueye, go for a full Magical Leaf farm down, as it's quite unlikely that they are going to be running Blizzard. Although they go for Scald there, I was thinking, you know what, this is a purified Whiscash. They might be running Return here, which would be very spicy, but either way, I can still live a Return. So, gonna let this move go through, but they full send the Blizzard. I just said, it's so unlikely that they're going to run it, and of course, they just hit me with the Blizzard. Now it's all up to Heatran to sweep another game, and luckily for us, it looks like it's going to be possible as they've got a Bronzong in the back. We're going to go for the Magma Storm, grab the final shield from the opponent. I'm not going to throw straight away. I'm just going to farm to back-to-back charge moves here. That is the safe play. I mean, we've got two shields anyway, so honestly, could have just no-shielded that. Would have been fine as well. But we go for the Magma Storm. Magma Storm takes out Alola Ninetales, and I can go for another Magma Storm, and this is super effective. It will certainly be enough damage to take out the Bronzong, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see Decidueye into Giratina. So this is the other Pokemon that is newly available for the Great League, and honestly, it just completely destroys my team. I have nothing for it. Obviously, I've got two steel types in the back, which typically do alright up against dragons, although they do have resisted fast move pressure, but obviously most dragons are going to be running dragon moves, so it's not that bad. But unfortunately, up against Giratina, this is really bad for us, because they can hit for big neutral damage against all of my Pokemon. We're going to swap here. I'm hoping this is just another Ominous Wind, but it's the Shadow Ball. It nearly takes us out. The opponent is going to think about what to do here before they come in, and they're going to come in with a Charger Bug, so it's not looking too good for us. They've still got both their shields remaining as well, and my Decidueye is very low health already. So, going to come in with the Heatran here, of course. I kind of just have to let this first move go through. The opponent's going to go for the Discharge, which does make sense, as X-Scissor is going to be double resisted, and they've got a Lantern in the back, so it's not looking good for us. I need to land this Earth Power. Earth Power does connect, but even then, I don't think that's enough. We're going to come in with Decidueye. They fire off the charge move. I should live a Surf here, and I do, but I don't live the Spark damage, so unfortunately, I can Fire Spin, farm them down, but I'm at like 1 HP remaining. I didn't realize that they still had their shields remaining, so we go for the Magma Storm, and unfortunately they shield that up there. They still had both shields remaining, so that was a really dumb play by me, but GG's to that opponent there. Not a lot I could have done. Into next game, we see Wigglytuff in the lead. The opponent's going to swap into their Shadow Victory Bell, which isn't ideal, but I'm thinking probably a fast move pressure team. Heatran is looking pretty good here right now. So we're actually going to come in with our Decidueye, of course. Decidueye not going to have a great time up against that Wigglytuff, so I'm thinking if I leave my Heatran here, as long as it's not something like a Bastiodon, because I'm not actually running the Earth Power in this battle, then we should be looking good. So I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace here. Aerial Ace is going to be grabbing the final shield from the opponent there, which is a mistake because I've got Heatran. We can go for the Fire Spin, farm down, and the opponent's got a Shadow Dragonair in the back, so this is amazing. We still got both our shields remaining. I can just shield this up. They're going to go for the Aqua Tail. Actually, no, they go for a Body Slam. Doesn't really matter there, so I can just go for the Stone Edge, and Stone Edge from this range doesn't quite take them out there, but it doesn't matter. They've got Wigglytuff in the back, and as always, we are double resisting the charm damage. This is a very dominant matchup for the Heatran here, and we can just go and shield this move. I'm going to go for the full Fire Spin, farm down, and then I will just go for another Stone Edge into the Dragonair, despite being on 1 HP, and I'm just going to fully undercharge it because I don't need to hit any of the bubbles there. Stone Edge takes out the Shadow Dragonair, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Decidueye into a Whiscash, so an amazing lead for us. The opponent is going to stay in with the Whiscash there, which is a very, very strange play. So I'm just going to let this move go through. Clearly very weak to Decidueye, so I'm going to stay in, go for the full Magical Leaf, farm down. I do have to be careful though, because obviously if they're staying in with the Whiscash, there might be another Water type in the back. So what I'm going to do is fire off both Aerial Aces here, and then I'm just going to swap into my Heatran. Of course, Heatran usually isn't my safe swap, but if it is a Water type in the back, I need to bait it out, and they've got a Shadow Kyogre, so a typical Great League matchup with Heatran and Shadow Kyogre. We're going to go for the Earth Power, taking out the Shadow Kyogre. They come back in with the Trevenant. We still got 2 shields remaining, so just going to come in with my Decidueye, go for the Aerial Ace, and this will certainly be enough damage from this range to take out the Trevenant, and I'm able to take that game. So opponent obviously just like exited the app there, which is why it looked like it was lagging a lot. But into the next battle, we're going to see Charge Bug in the lead, and this is a bit of an issue for me because I can't just safe swap into my Empoleon like I would normally do, because obviously Empoleon is going to be losing in this battle up against Charge Bug. So they threw straight away there on really poor timing. I'm thinking they're probably going to do the same once again, so I'm going to go for the Aerial Ace and then swap into my Empoleon. I tried to catch an X-Scissor, it didn't work out for me, and then the opponent baits with the X-Scissor anyway, so they will now be able to make it to a discharge. This is just not going well whatsoever. We're now going to have to double shield, and we are finally able to get rid of the Charger Bug, but it's not looking good at all. Let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with a Mantine, so I mean, this looks bad for the Heatran, but we do actually have Stone Edge, and of course, Mantine typically just going to be running Aerial Ace and Ice Beam, so actually, I should be able to make it to another charge move on my Empoleon. I might make it to 2 more Drill Pecks here. So I'm going to go for the first one, assess how much damage I've taken. Drill Peck does some decent damage there. I think I can make it, but no, I'm not able to do so. Should have just swapped out there, and I make a big mistake by not swapping out. But now we come in with the Heatran. We can tank this move very comfortably, but they've got a Sableye in the back. So I'm going to go straight for the Magma Storm here. Magma Storm is going to deal some decent damage in this matchup. We're going to swap, catch the charge move onto my Decidueye, and the opponent is going to go for the foul play. They actually fully undercharge it, which is a smart play. We do get off an Aerial Ace here, which isn't going to do that much damage, but they can get enough Shadow Claws in to outpace us to the next charge move, unfortunately, and a foul play from this range will certainly be enough damage to take out my Heatran, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's there, very well played to that opponent. Into the next game, we see another Wigglytuff in the lead. So this is why Heatran is really good. I mean, not necessarily for the Wigglytuff in the lead, but there are quite a lot of Wigglytuff out in the Catch Cup right now. So we're going to go for a Drill Peck up against this Poliwrath. They're going to use their shield there, and this is not looking too good for us. But we're going to come back in with our Decidueye. They will be able to make it to 2 charge moves before I do make it to an Aerial Ace. So this time I'm actually going to shield the first one as they go for the Icy Wind. Of course, they're going to be going for those Icy Winds, debuffing my attack. I'm just going to have to let the next one go through. Can't afford to double shield in this matchup. We go for the Aerial Ace here, and if they do shield this, then we're going to be in a lot of trouble, and they do shield. So the previous time they actually let it go through. This time they shield, and now there's nothing we can do. I'm just going to let the Heatran go down here. I mean, if they go and bait with an Icy Wind, then fine, but doesn't matter, we probably still lose anyway, so unfortunately, Skull takes us out and we do lose that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into next game, we see Scalar Dirge in the lead, not ideal for us whatsoever. I'm going to say swap into my Shadow Empoleon, hopefully just grab a shield advantage in this matchup, and I am able to get that shield. They will outpace me to back-to-back charge moves here, so even with me getting a full waterfall through, which I shouldn't have done there, so I don't really know why that happened. But either way, we are now going to come in with my Decidueye, go for a Magical Leaf farm down. They will make it to a Scald. I don't think they're going to make it to a Blizzard, so I can just let this move go through. Scald is going to get the attack drop, which actually gives me slightly more farm, which is, I mean, pretty good for me. But then Aerial Ace is going to do less damage here, so doesn't really help me too much. Aerial Ace really does not do much damage there at all, actually, but we're going to shield this up. I'm then going to go for one extra Magical Leaf, then swap into my Heatran, and the opponent blind swaps into their Cresselia, and this is actually a pretty good matchup for us. If they are running Future Sight, it's still going to do quite a lot of damage though, and unfortunately they are running it, but Magma Storm also going to do some decent damage in this matchup. I'm hoping 2 Magma Storms will be enough to KO from this range. It will be very close, but let's see. Magma Storm number 2 coming through, doesn't quite take them out, and they barely live the next Fire Spin as well, so not good for me. I'm just going to have to shield the Grass Knot. Maybe could have lived that actually, but we play it safe. We used our shield. We're now going to go for the Magma Storm, and we've got a charge we've loaded onto Decidueye, so we swap out straight away. It looks like the opponent tried to throw there as well, so we get quite lucky with a 0-turn swap. Aerial Ace takes out the Scalar Dirge, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into next game, we see a Kanto Ninetales in the lead, so not ideal for me as well. We're going to swap into Empoleon, once again baiting out the Whiscash, which is exactly what we want from the Empoleon to keep it away from our Heatran. We're going to go for the Hydro Cannon there, grab the shield from the opponent, and once again, just going to let this move go through. Mod Bomb will be enough to take out Empoleon from that range, and now we can come in with our Decidueye, go for a full Magical Leaf farm down, and come out with a decent amount of energy. Once again, going to no-shield this move here. It is just going to be a Scald or a Mud Bomb. It is a Scald, this time no debuff, so we don't get that extra Magical Leaf in. We're still going to go for the Aura Sphere. Hopefully the opponent just lets this go through, and the opponent does no shield. That does huge damage. We swap into Heatran, and unfortunately they're running Lantern. If we were running the Earth Power here, honestly we might be able to flip this matchup here, but we're going to go for the Stone Edge. Unfortunately, doesn't do too much damage up against the Lantern. So I'm going to shield the Surf here. Of course, I have to shield in this matchup. We're going to barely get outpaced to the next charge move as well. So I'm going to double shield here. And we are now going to overfarm as much as possible, go for the Magma Storm, still throwing on good timing here. Magma Storm is going to be enough damage from this range to take out the Lantern. Now I'm going to swap into my Decidueye, we catch the charge move, and now all we have to do is go for the Magma Storm, or at least that's what I thought at the time, but once again, the opponent still had a shield remaining, so we go for the Magma Storm. They just used their final shield, and they can just Fire Spin farm me down, so I do apologise to those few opponents where I've thrown charge moves. These battles were done quite early in the morning. I wasn't fully with it, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but I wasn't fully with it, so I was making some pretty dumb mistakes here and there. But into the next battle, we're going to see the opponent swaps into Cresselia to respond to my Empoleon. So this is not a hard answer. This is a matchup where we're going to have to fight for switch advantage, because obviously I want my Heatran aligned to their Wigglytuff. So we're going to shield this up. We can now go for the Waterfall farm down, and we do get the farm down. The opponent's going to come back in with their Wigglytuff, so we're going to go straight for a Hydro Cannon here. They will be able to charm farm me all the way down, but I'm then going to come in with my Heatran immediately, as hopefully they are still switch locked, but I don't believe they are. But the opponent's going to swap into their Shadow Gligar, and this is also a positive matchup for Heatran, at least with a significant energy advantage, as we can go for the Magma Storm, grab the shield we threw on the CMP tie. Possibly could have just went for the extra Fire Spin there to get even more energy, but it doesn't really matter. Magma Storm from this range won't KO, but it will do big damage, and it will get them into range where we can Fire Spin, farm them down, and this is game over for the Wigglytuff, as we can just go for another Magma Storm. Magma Storm takes out the Wigglytuff, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Decidueye into a Shadow Alolan Ninetales. So like I said, a lot of charm users in the meta right now, and the opponent's going to swap into their Poliwrath, so not ideal for me, but this is exactly what I want from my team. Bait out the Poliwrath with my Shadow Empoleon, and we're going to come in with Decidueye. Now, if you did want to run a similar team, I'd probably recommend something that does a bit better up against Poliwrath, because Decidueye isn't that great, but it is a catch cup, so I'm just using what I've got and what I've built this season. Not really building anything specifically I'm not going to rebuild any Pokemon for this catch guard. We're going to go for the Aerial Ace. They do actually shield there, so since we've already grabbed the shield, I will now double shield my Decidueye. The opponent's going to swap back into their Ninetales, so we come in with our Heatran. We can go for a full Fire Spin, farm down. Weather Ball really not going to do much damage there. These Charms aren't doing much damage either, and the opponent's going to come back in with the Poliwrath. I do go for one extra Fire Spin there, just because I don't know what's in the back, or we might need the energy here, and it's a Jellicent, so actually this is not looking too good for us. If the opponent is smart, they will just farm to 100 energy before throwing a charge move. They should just barely get there before we make it to the Magma Storm, which is really painful for me. But Surf will be taking me out, and now they can go for the Shadow Ball, and from this range, a Shadow Ball will certainly be enough damage to take out the Decidueye, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to that opponent, very well played. And into, I believe, the final battle of this video, we see Annihilate in the lead. So the opponent's going to Safe Swap into Dugong. This isn't ideal for me because Dugong can hit my entire team for super effective damage depending on what move they throw. We go for an Aerial Ace, we grab the shield, and then expect them to go for one extra Ice Shard before throwing an Icy Wind. And because they do exactly what I was anticipating, we're able to catch a double resisted Icy Wind on my Fire and Steel type Pokemon instead of them going for the Drill Run, which is double super effective. We're now going to farm two back-to-back charge moves, so this way, even if they shield this up, I should be able to go for a second Magma Storm and take them out, but they come in with a Shadow Whiscash. This is not ideal for me whatsoever. So we're going to go for the Magma Storm. Magma Storm really not going to do much damage since we are debuffed and it is resisted. We just have to fire off the charge moves though so we can swap out. I'm going to swap straight away into my Decidueye here. Just get off as many magical leaves as I possibly can. We get off 2, which is huge. It does get them low, and then I anticipate the opponent just going to swap straight away into their Annihilate. So we blind throw the Aerial Ace, grab the final shield. It's still not looking too good for us. I know that Whiscash does have a charge move loaded, so we're going to come in with the Empoleon here, and we will be able to go for a Drill Peck, but not before they make it to a Shadow Ball to potentially KO. They go and bait with the Night Slash, doesn't matter, it would take us out from that range, but we're now going to go and fire off the Drill Peck. I'm going to swap instantly, and I'm able to catch the charge move on my Heatran, and even if they fully undercharge it, I believe Mud Bomb would still KO, and like that I'm able to Waterfall, farm them down, and take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.